Therefore, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand. Then he says, verse 14, then stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist. And then he says, leads me to point 2, with the breastplate of righteousness in place. If he can't get you to lie, church, he will try to get you to act immorally, or in other words, impurely. He will try to get you from living right. He will try to get you from living right, from living right before the Lord's eyes. He'll try to get you to live immorally. He'll try to get you to live impurely. And if you're not careful, church, we need to be able to, we will struggle with this. We will struggle trying to be righteous and right before God's eyes because we are trying and struggling and scratching and fighting with this impure life that we live in secret. Impure thoughts, impure decisions, impure actions. And Paul's saying, you got to be able to wear the breastplate of righteousness. You got to be able to protect your heart. You got to be able to make sure that out of your heart, out of your being right here, you're not allowing unrighteousness to seep in. You're not, that's why the Bible says in Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart above all else. It says, guard your heart. Guard your life. Because everything flows from that. In other words, if you are letting things seep in, it's going to come out one way or another. One way or another. It's going to come out. I usually tell people this. If you don't nip things in the butt, eventually, it's going to catch up to you. Some of you are like, what does that mean, Pastor? If you don't cut things now, eventually it's going to grow. And when it grows, it's going to blow up in your face. It's going to destroy you. There are things in your life, church, I would rather you kill now than struggle later and suffer later. I would rather you kill it now than your family have to deal with it later. Your marriages, your kids. I would rather you deal with it now, whatever that looks like. Because everybody has different things that they know that they need to submit to the Lord. But that I'd rather you do it now than it blow up later on in life. I'd rather you do it now. Today's the day that you can decide, you know what, Pastor, I want to be committed to righteousness. I want to be committed to living right before God. Because at the end of the day, church, the most important eyes over your life is the eyes of God. The person you want to please the most is God. It's God. That's the only one that matters. So be committed, church, to righteousness. This breastplate that Paul is talking about, it was like this. Let me read it for you, because I really like this description. It's a small square box, and it's a bronze box with tiny holes on the top of each square so that they would be sewn to leather vests underneath. It was a small square box that was bronze, and they had tiny holes on top, and they would sew leather underneath. That, in other words, there was no way that a plunge could get there. The enemies would, in their battle, they would try to plunge things, and they couldn't get there because of that breastplate. And Paul uses that illustration. Why? Because if we are committed to righteousness, it doesn't matter where the enemy wants to come and get us, it can't get in. Because you're guarded. Nope, I'm not going to go there because I know. Nope, I'm not going to talk to this person because I know. Nope, I'm going to do this because I know if I go there, if I talk to this person, it's going to get me. But if I can be committed, I'll be okay. It don't matter who's coming my way. It doesn't matter what the lies coming my way. It doesn't matter gossip. It doesn't matter whatever that the enemy tries to bring. It's okay. I got myself covered. I'm not stressing out. I'm not worried. I'm not letting external things that try to come to my life get in the way of what God's trying to do in me. That's all it is. I'm covering myself. I'm making sure I'm covered. So church, if we can do anything today, we could not only be committed to truth, be committed to righteousness. And then be committed to walking in peace. The Bible says this in verse 15. And with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. You know what this means? A lot of times, and it's nobody's fault. I was taught this too growing up. A lot of times people think, oh, this is talking about evangelism. Like, oh, I got to be ready to evangelize. Paul wasn't really talking about evangelism in this moment. What he was talking about was peace with each other. Because if the enemy can't ruin you with lies and he can't ruin you with unrighteousness and impurities, he will try to get you to be divided within each other. He'll try to get you to fight with each other. Jesus said, a house divided cannot stand. So that means he'll try to get spouses to fight with each other, family members. He'll try to get you to fight with your friends that you've been friends for 10 years plus. And all of a sudden, all these fightings start happening before you don't talk to each other anymore. And it goes to go on and on and on. And so Paul's saying, you got to be ready to walk in peace with every single person in your life. Those boots that soldiers wear that would protect their feet. You're protecting the unity in your life. No one in this room wakes up and says, oh, I just want strife today. God, I want all the smoke from my friends. God, I want to give free smoke today to anybody. You know, we don't say that. We want peace with people. If the devil can get a church divided, what good are we for this world? If the devil can get all of us in this room to fight with each other, how can we and you be a blessing to our city? How? We can't. We can't bless our city if there's disunity all over the place. If you're a business owner, the leaders somehow, wherever you might be leading something right now, how can you build anything that is successful where there's disunity amongst the people? You can't. It'll look good for a couple of months, and then it'll burn. It'll crash at some point in due time. And Paul's saying, man, you got to live in peace. That means that, church, there are people in this room that you need to ask for forgiveness for. Maybe they don't even know that you've had bitterness against them, and you're like, you know what, I want to apologize to you. I know you don't know this, and boom, you go down on the list. Church, forgiveness can set you free. I don't know if you know that. When Jesus forgave you, it sets you free, did it not? When you forgive others, it sets you free as well. So Paul's saying, man, be committed to walking in peace with each other. Be committed to walking in peace. And as you walk in peace, here we go. Now, the evangelism comes. Because now you've chosen to walk in peace. And when people see you, church, think about this. We live in a world right now that is very divided. Not just political. We see protests everywhere. We have wars going on. We see this all over. It's all disunity everywhere. But God's called us to be higher than that. God's called me and you to be better than that. That while everybody else wants to be crazy and disunity and they want to spray paint buildings and attack college, while everybody else wants to be like that, I got a different spirit in me. I got a different life. I choose peace over strife. I choose love over battles. But I got to be committed, church, to walking in peace. I can't walk in peace, church, with a bitter heart. I can't walk in peace in fear, in hate. Maybe someone did you wrong and you're living with hate. Maybe someone did you wrong and they don't even know that they did you wrong and you're living with hate against them. Maybe you feel like you were humiliated by someone, or your parents criticized you on something and you can't let it go. I would say let it go today. If you want the peace of God, let it go today. If you want peace with others, let it go today. Give it to the Lord. I would rather give it to the Lord than anybody else in this room. Because while people might have right words to say at the moment, and they pray with you, they do not have the power to set you free. Only God can do that. Give it to the Lord.